creating a references section. So your reference section always comes after the last page of your paper. So this section provides detailed information about how to create the reference section of your paper. And so at this stage in the writing process, you may have already begun setting up your reference section. This section may consist of a single page for a brief research paper or may extend for many pages in a professional journal article. And so here, as you set up your reference page, use the Insert Page Break feature of your word processing program to begin a new page. Note that the header and margins will be the same as in the body of your paper, and pagination continues from the body of the paper. In other words, if you set up the body of your paper correctly, the correct header and page number should appear automatically in your reference section. And so here you have, when you write a reference citation, you're going to write the name of the author. So this is the name of the author, the year of publication, and so that's the year of publication, the full title of the source. So that's the full title of the source, the name of the periodical or book in which it appears, and so that would, well, in this case, it's not. If you have a book source, then you would use publication name. So that's the publication name. And so here you have the author name, the date, the article name, the journal name, and then page number and volume. So if you got your source from a journal, then you don't italicize the article name, you italicize the journal. But if you got your article from a book, then you italicize the article name, and then you just write the publication name. So that's something to remember. And so when you write the references, include the heading references, okay? Don't use works cited, because works cited is for APA. Use double-spaced type throughout the reference section as in the body of your paper. Use hanging indentation for each entry. The first line should be flush with the left line, while any lines that follow should be indented 5 spaces. Note that hanging indentation is the opposite of normal indenting rules for paragraphs. List entries in alphabetical order by the author's last name. List author's name using the format Smith, J.C. For a work with no individual author, use the name of the organization that published the book, or if this is unavailable, use the title of the workplace or of the author's name or the website name. For works with multiple authors, follow these guidelines. For works with up to 20 authors, list the last name and initials for each author. For works with more than 20 authors, list the first 19 names followed by ellipses and then the name of the last author listed. Use an ampersand before the name of the last author listed. Use the title case for journal titles. Capitalize the important words in the title. Use sentence case for all other titles, books, articles, web pages, and other source titles. Capitalize the first word of the title. Do not capitalize any other words in the title except for the following: proper nouns, first word of a subtitle, first word after a colon or dash. Use italics for book and journal titles. Do not use italics, underlining, or quotation marks for titles of shorter works, such as articles. Because then people confuse, if you use underlining, people are going to confuse that with hyperlinks. That's why it got changed to italics. Used to be that we would underline the titles. Then when everything became internet, then anything with an underline people would confuse with hyperlinks. So that's why they changed it to italics, in case you're wondering. As is the case for in-text citations, formatting reference citations becomes more complicated when you are citing a source with multiple articles, or citing various types of online media, or citing sources for which you must provide additional information. So here is how you cite a source with 2 authors, and this is an ampersand, this little thing. So you put it this way. Here's how you edit an edited book with no author. And basically you just have the author's name, the date, the article name, where the article came from, either the publisher, publication name, journal name, or website name goes over here, and then page number comes last. So always the date goes second, especially in APA. And then if you're translating from some other language, you use TRANS. And you have multiple editions, you would list 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition. And if it's a chapter in an edited book, then you would write, you would include PP for the page numbers, and include the abbreviation, that when listing the pages where a chapter or article appears in a book. So pages 97 to 125. So that's how you would use, when listing your page numbers. An article in a reference book, capitalize the proper nouns that appear in a book title. 2 or more authors, 2 or more books by the same author, you just simply use the same name, then you just write in whatever the date, and I've done that before. I remember one time I had a bibliography where I had 10 different Smiths, 10 different Rodriguezes, and sometimes it was the same person, and sometimes it was somebody unrelated. So that's a very common name. So here you have Carol, and you just list it like you would, and you always list the last name, then the first name, last name, first name, last name, first name, last name, first name, date, and then you, and for books, you italicize the article name. And so this is how you would do it. Books by different authors, and then you capitalize the first word of a subtitle. And so here are more, and if you want more examples of APA, you should go to www.apa.org and buy the APA manual. That will have everything you ever want to know about APA, everything. So all of these are just examples of how you could do the different references that would belong after the last page of your book. And so here you would have an article in a scholarly article. Then you have author name, publication, article name, and you italicize the journal name. You don't need to italicize the article name when you have an article in a scholarly journal. Then issue name, page name, and that sort of thing. And so that's what's different. See, here you don't italicize the article name, you italicize the journal name when you have an article in a scholarly journal. And so once again, the same thing. When you notice, if it's a book, okay, you italicize the article. But if it's a journal, you italicize the journal. And so that's basically how you do it. And so here, same thing. If it's an abstract of a scholarly article, once again, you italicize the journal name or the abstracts, the name of the journal where you found the abstracts, but you don't italicize the title of the abstract. So scholarly sources in journals have their own special format where you have to italicize the journal name. Okay, you italicize the journal name and not the author. And so it's because some names are omitted. So if you have too many authors, okay, more than 20 authors, then some names in the middle will get not deleted. You just don't write all of them. And so you write the first 19, and let's say you have 40 authors. So you just list the first 19 authors, then you write ... then you write the name of the last author. So let's say you've got Jones, Smith, and 19 other Joneses and Smiths, and then all of a sudden you got Zelinsky at the very end, or something like that, or Zapato. Then you just stick ... and then put Zapato, or whoever's the Z, whoever's the last, whoever's the last author. So that's basically ... and you don't have to list all 20 of them, and then the last, the author with the latest alphabet. And so here you have, this is how you would do a magazine article, a newspaper article. Include the section of the newspaper. Okay, so newspapers have different kinds of like A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, continued on page A1. I usually hate that when it's on. You would want all the articles to be all there, but this makes you want to open the newspaper. So that's just a whole. So yeah, so you would put in A1, A2, and you italicize the reviewed book only where it appears in brackets. And so electronic sources, you are citing articles from an online source. And so if you're going to use an online source, you also have to include the web address. So the URL stands for, the letters URL stand for Uniform Resource Locator. So always provide the most complete URL possible. Provide a link to the specific article used, rather than a link to the publication homepage. This you put last in your, and then also in databases, they have something called a digital object identifier. This is an identification code provided for some online documents, typically articles, in a scholarly journal. So the DOI, the digital object identifier, is the same thing or similar. It has a similar function as a URL. It shows the location of where the article is in a database, while a URL shows the web address of where an article is on the internet. That sort of thing. So that's the difference. So it'll say DOI. So that means it's in some kind of database, and that sort of thing. So here you would even, I think it's part of the, if it says, it'll say DOI. A lot of them will say, here you go. A lot of them will actually say DOI as part of the web address. And that will tell you that this article came from a database. And some of them don't have a DOI. Well, that's okay also. So you just always put the web address or the DOI at the very end. It's the last thing you put in your reference citation. And so all of these are all different ways of doing your reference citation. And so you have to know what kind of a source that you're using. And then you would look up in the APA manual, will have an index. So let's say you found a newspaper article. Then you go to your APA manual, look up in the index, newspaper article. It's going to give you the page number, and then you look it up. So I don't have to go over it because nobody can memorize that. You have to look it up in your APA manual in www.apa.org, and then you buy the APA manual so that no matter what kind of source you use, that is the definitive guide everybody uses for APA. Even this textbook took all of this information from the APA manual. Every textbook on APA that you will ever read all came from the source APA manual. I believe it's the 7th edition. I could be wrong, but anyway, you go to APA manual, www.apa.org. I could say that till I'm blue in the face, but that's what you buy. That's the definitive guide to APA. So, and APA is used around the world, interestingly. So let's say, everybody can read the date, right? Let's say everything else is written in Chinese. So you could then guess that what's before the date is the author name. What comes after the date is some article name. And then the very last thing is the, let's say, the web address. So, it's used internationally around the world. So no matter what alphabet somebody uses, APA, you can, that's why we put the APA in the same place. That's why everybody does the author name, the date, the article name, the publication name, the date you retrieved the website, and the web address. Always the same, because that way, no matter what language it's in, you can guess what it is. You can guess, oh, that must be the author name. Oh, that must be the article name, that sort of thing. When it's in other, I didn't even know that until I had a Spanish student or show me, hey, in my country, we use APA too. I was like, oh, wow, this was many years ago, but anyway, and then you have many different kinds of, I'm not going to go over that, but there are many different kinds of reference citations that you can use. And basically you just look it up in the reference citation and you look up what it is you have, okay? You could have a television, radio, motion picture, recording, podcast, whatever, okay? And then or you could use an APA generator. There are APA generators like EasyBib, EasyBib, APA auto generator, where you just fill in the blanks and then press submit. And so here in APA papers, so key takeaways, okay? So entries in the reference section includes as much of the following information as possible. Print sources, author, date of publication, title, publisher, page number for shorter works, editors if applicable, and periodical title if applicable, online sources, author, date of publication, title, publisher or sponsoring organization, and DOI or URL, electronic sources, non-text based, provide details about the creators of the work, title, associated company or series, and date the work and the date the work was produced or broadcast. The specific details provided will vary depending on the medium and the information that is available. Electronic text-based. If an electronic source is widely available in print form, it is sometimes unnecessary to provide details about how to access the electronic form. So anyway, no matter what it is that you're using, okay, you just got to look it up, and that's what you look it up in the APA manual. So I'll just repeat it again. If you want to get the definitive source on APA, you go to www.apa.org, and from there you can buy your own APA manual, and then you'll know APA forever. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the Professor H Writing channel, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me at any time.